Tim coming to you from Bend and Lomita United Methodist Churches in Central Texas. We're bringing you some of the information, some of the background of the Bible, telling the stories, because we think there's a lack of understanding of what the stories of the Bible are. There's also a lack of lack of the tools to get into the Bible to understand it. It's pretty daunting to see such a large book with such a diverse content and be able to think that you can understand it. I think it's best to find somebody to help you, some guide, some other group of people that can try this trip together with you. Today we're up to Joseph. We had him thrown into the pit by his brothers and sold into slavery. And now we're going to find out how he fared in Egypt, where he ended up. He was sold again back into Egypt. And he ends up pretty well off, but he gets a surprise. And a woman of high ranking charges him with misconduct because she wants to go to bed with him and he doesn't want to go to bed. It turns out that he ends up being a rather moral character. He's not too likable at first. His brothers don't like him, and frankly, we think he's a little egotistical in his homeland. But being sold into slavery apparently has taught him some humility, and he remembers his background and his morality, and he refuses, and so he gets thrown into prison. But he has this ability to be able to tell what dreams mean, and some of the other prisoners are with him and have dreams, and he interprets them. One to come back out of prison and go back to the position in which he had before, and the other is not going to fare so well. So that wasn't a very good interpretation for that person, but he had to say it anyway, even though if he didn't like it. And so Pharaoh's having dreams, and so for Pharaoh, they hear about his ability to tell dreams, to interpret dreams. So he goes and talks to Pharaoh about his dreams, and the interpretation of the dreams is that there's going to be a period of bad drought for years, and then there will be a period of good years, and then followed by 7 years of drought. And so what they need to do is prepare. So the Pharaoh decides that the best person to do that is Joseph. He's the one who interpreted and saw the thing coming. He's the best one to set up. So he makes Joseph second only to Pharaoh in terms of power. And so they store up during the 7 years. They keep grain and extra grain. They take care of the cattle, so preserve that as much as possible. They ration food so that there'll be a lot left over, and then the 7 years come, and they don't do great, but they survive. That's one of the things about the ancient cultures, is that it lived and died not so much by the armies as by the food. When they didn't have enough food, when there wasn't enough rain, when there were storms that destroyed the crops, there was no HEB to go to. For you who don't understand HEB, grocery store, to go to, they had to find it from somebody else or just starve. And so the Egyptians did rather well. And that's going to mean that Joseph's brothers and father are going to end up having to come to Egypt for grain. Now, they don't recognize Joseph at first. So it's pretty easy to understand, because the Hebrews had a tradition to grow their beards. Well, Joseph, being part of the Egyptian culture at the time, shaved his beard, so he didn't have the beard that they would have expected or they would be used to. He would have worn Egyptian dress, as the other people of the culture who who he commanded as one of the high officials, he was dressed like them. He probably would have spoke Egyptian, and I can't resist, but they must have walked like an Egyptian too. But now the fun begins. And so we're going to talk about next time what happens as a result of them having to come and beg from their brother who they do not know is their brother.